Welcome to another special edition of Litter Media Live. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Joining us in the studio today, we have Melanie Swisher, Paint Valley ADAMH Executive Director, Bill Showman, who's with ADAMH as the Manager of Prevention and Evaluation, and on the far side, not anything bad, like Star Wars, Kelly Dennis, who is Associate Director of the Paint Valley ADAMH Board. We're going to be talking about an exciting new grant that they've received and some other topics as well, dealing with the Paint Valley ADAMH. Our interview today is brought to you by Pickaway-Ross Adult Education. Back with more right after this.
Find a career you love with Pickaway-Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway-Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
Back with our friends from Paint Valley ADAMH. First of all, Melanie, welcome. Good to have you back.
Thanks for having us back.
An exciting new grant. We had a news story on that at littermedia.com, I think late last week or early this week. $750,000?
Yeah, just a little over $750,000.
Yeah. So what does that go for?
So we have always been really invested in prevention for our kids, because if we can teach kids healthy coping skills, emotional regulation, then they may go on to never need our services, right? And so that's really what we would love to see happen. And we've used a lot of levy and state funding to do prevention in the schools. We always make sure it's evidence-based. We want to make sure when we're using taxpayer dollars that there's actually proven results with what's happening. But thankfully, we have SOAR dollars that we've talked about before, and we've used those to expand youth-led coalitions. But we're so excited because now we have this One Ohio funding, and we are going to partner with our local providers, and we are going to provide positive alternatives for kids. So things that they can do on their free time that is healthy, that promotes wellness. That's what we're going to be using that for.
You know, a reminder for our viewers or listeners, if you're tuned into Litter Media Radio, Paint Valley ADAMH serves multiple counties,
yes,
not just Ross.
Right, yeah, we serve Ross, Pike, Pickaway, Fayette, and Highland counties.
So how long do these funds stretch out for? Is this an annual thing? Is this something that goes out over years?
This current award is for 3 years. I think we can reapply.
Yeah. And that it's not that you weren't serving in a prevention manner for our area's youth, but this is a leg up to help do even more.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I think, we talked before when we were talking about our crisis planning that we really want our community to have the absolute best. So this specific grant is just this awesome opportunity. We can expand prevention services for our kids. And I think that's one thing we can all agree on, is that our kids deserve the absolute best.
Bill Showman, as Manager of Prevention and Evaluation, is this in your bailiwick, or is this something that's just a part of what you're doing?
This is very much in our bailiwick. We've traditionally funded a significant amount of prevention education in schools. And then we do a lot of community-based coalition work. But, with these grant dollars, it allows us to expand and have a more comprehensive prevention strategy. And we're going to use the Center for Substance Abuse Prevention to do that. So we want to, the 6 strategies there are information dissemination, education, which we already do, alternatives, which is what this grant is going to give us the opportunity to do, environmental, that's where we work with our youth-led coalitions, and they try to change policies in their schools and communities. And then we have a community-based process, which is our coalition work again. So we're just really excited because this new funding is going to allow us to do so much more. When we go to these community coalitions, we hear from folks in the community that there's just nothing for our kids to do that are positive. And that's all positive alternatives are doing, is just providing safe, sober activities for kids to participate in and expand those opportunities for kids to meet new people, be exposed to new things, and create protective factors so the kids, learn that they have trusted adults that they can talk to in their communities.
Kelly Dennis, I think the story that we ran about the grant, there was a picture that showed some local organizations that receive these dollars that actually do the reaching out. You might talk about some of those.
Yeah, so the partners on this grant we listed in the media release, but we've got Pickaway Area Recovery Services, we've got Fayette Community Action Commission. We also have help me, Bill.
Big Brothers.
Big Brothers, Big Sisters. They're one of the bigger components of this grant.
And the Recovery Council.
The Recovery Council down in Pike County, but they also serve, they're serving multiple counties now. But those are the major partners in there, and they already do a lot of our prevention work. All 4 of those are major providers for our ADAMH board. So they're already doing prevention work, but like Bill said, this is expanded. We're going to be doing some additional prevention work on the alternatives and the strengthening families. So,
and the Strengthening Families program, Big Brothers, Big Sisters is going to be administering that. And the really cool piece to that program is, one, it's evidence-based. But 2, so often we're limited. We aren't allowed to pay for food with any kind of funding. But this grant allows us to pay for food. And a big piece of the curriculum is families getting together and having a family dinner together.
Right.
So that's built into the curriculum. So that's pretty exciting as well.
One of the things about using these other organizations, it's not that a new idea is not a bad idea, but I like it when you're incorporating things that are already there. It's not like you're having to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Some of these things, as Bill said, are proven to be effective, so why not help them?
Yeah, we're just expanding on what is already working, really.
So as a facilitator, and all can respond to this, as a facilitator of these dollars, how do you determine how much goes to each entity involved?
So the way we kind of broke this down is the Recovery Council, PARS, and Fayette Community Action was already doing our youth-led coalitions. So we approached them with just expanding in these, and then we just divided it equally by county. And then Big Brothers, Big Sisters, because they're in all 5 of our counties doing work, we just felt like they would be the great agency to do the strengthening families.
Okay. Bill, you mentioned the food component. A lot of people might not understand this, but there are kids that we hear these stories all the time that are coming to school, and they haven't even had a meal yet. And that's something that a lot of folks just don't know is going on.
Yeah. So, and again, you're touching on it that, it fills another gap. The food piece of the curriculum, that's built into the curriculum, and it's, to show families, how to sit down, how to communicate with each other. But like you're pointing out, a lot of those kids, if it wasn't for that program, they may not eat that evening. Not to, exaggerate things, but a lot of kids don't have a meal every evening.
Right.
Especially in our really rural areas.
Some of what we've already talked about has dealt with, drug abuse prevention. Is there a mental health component to this as well?
It really helps both. You're learning alternatives, some coping skills, some emotional regulation, so it'll impact both.
So other than this $750,000 3-year grant, what are some other things that are happening at ADAMH?
Well, as you know, we're still working on strengthening our crisis services. And actually, I do have an update about that. We do have an adult mobile team in Ross County now. We partnered with Ross County Community Action and Coleman Health Services. So Ross County Community Action is going to have a space for this team to begin, so we don't have to wait for our new crisis building to be built. And Coleman is going to begin to provide those services. So we have that going on. Our MRSS, which is the youth mobile team through Coleman, has expanded. It's in Fayette, Highland, and it's in Ross now. So that's really exciting that if a kid's having a concern, they can meet them in the home, in the school. And then last year we started around the holidays doing like a wellness sort of training for just folks to have some healthy coping skills and just something that's kind of enjoyable. Well, this year we are partnering with Dr. Stacy Saunders Adams, and the training is going to be called Gratitude During the Holidays. We're going to have it in Chillicothe and in Greenfield. And if you want more information about that, just contact us at pvadamh.org, or you can go to our Facebook page and you can register directly from there.
And this is, if I'm not mistaken, you're saying this it's a component of what you were trying to find a location for crisis, like a crisis clinic or what?
Oh, well, the training has nothing to do with crisis, no.
Gotcha.
But those crisis teams will eventually, that I talked about for the kids and the adults, they'll eventually be housed in that crisis facility once that's built.
So that idea is not going away?
Oh, no.
It's just
no,
that it's on the back.
No, we're working every day to increase access to care, absolutely.
Yeah. What are some other things? I know I ran into some of your people over at Miami Trace High School a few weeks back for the 988 light up the night. That was kind of neat. My daughters participated in that a number of times, but first time that I had actually been there in person, and over, I don't know, 200, 300 people showed up for that.
Yeah.
That was really kind of neat.
Yeah, it's awesome. So each of our 5 counties has a suicide prevention coalition, and they're doing amazing things. So if you want to get involved in a suicide prevention coalition, let us know. We'll connect you to who the lead is in your county. They are doing great stuff.
Because that's Fayette County, but that's not something that's necessarily being done in every county in the same way.
No, they all do things. They all have their unique way of doing things, but they're doing really cool stuff.
The governor, I think, came out with something 2 days ago that stated that opioid overdose deaths in the state of Ohio dropped like 9%, which was, I think, the second or third year in a row that's happened, and it was way ahead of what the national average is. Awesome. That's a great story.
Really awesome. Yeah.
And that's part of some of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that shows Ohio's efforts. There's a lot of different funding opportunities out there. And this is just kind of the way Ohio is. They're actually leading, one of the states that are leading the nation in reducing overdose deaths. So those are numbers that we look at within our region, but also at the state level. But I think just the variety of grant opportunities we have. We have prevention that we're talking about today. We're working on crisis intervention, opioid and substance use disorder prevention, and also treatment and response in the communities. Those are all different types of funding that we have here at the ADAMH board, but also communities have. And it's starting to show an impact on reducing overdose deaths.
And there's so many, partners at the coalition level, especially in Ross County. I know about a month ago, we were able to say for the first time in nearly a decade that Ross County didn't have a single overdose in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's been nearly a decade since we've been able to say that.
Wow.
So
Wow.
There's a lot of great work happening here.
So our counties have post-overdose response teams and quick response teams, and they help to get folks connected to treatment. They help to give out Narcan, and I think that their efforts are really paying off.
Yeah. With, and again, going back to youth, a lot of the things that we see, I'm guessing, and I may be totally off base on this, most of the overdoses probably would be an adult population. Not to say that young people aren't also experiencing this problem, but your majority is probably in the adult population. Is that correct?
Yes.
So getting out with these kids in a prevention, hopefully it'll save them that heartache down the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Bill, I think we can't say enough about the importance of the family. Absolutely. Family. You've got to get involved, folks. You got to know what your kids are up to, what they're doing. Plug into what they're doing. Don't just let them raise themselves.
Yeah, parents, you matter. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know some of what you're doing deals with that.
Absolutely.
The family meal, I have to tell you, especially this time of year when you're running all different directions. Of course, our daughter's grown up and out of school and out of the house, but I know how busy people get, but we've got to slow down a little bit and take that time to do that.
And we have to communicate. We have local data from Pike and Fayette County that, over 50% of the kids, they report that they don't feel that they have a trusted adult to talk to in their lives. So if they're not talking to a trusted adult or their parents, who are they talking to? Like, how are they learning about life?
Right. Right. And teachers can't do it all. Right. I mean, there's a lot of hours of the day you're not in school. You're out there doing something else. Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on before we close?
Well, I think the only thing I want to say, you touched on 988. So if you are listening and you're experiencing a behavioral health crisis, please reach out to 988. Reach out to the ADAMH board if you need to know, what treatment provider should I go to. We can let you know what's available local. But don't give up. Treatment really does work, and recovery is really beautiful.
Again, our guests today, Melanie Swisher, Bill Showman, and also Kelly Dennis from the Paint Valley ADAMH board. If you have questions, you can go to their website, which is
www.pvadamh.org.
And I'm sure you probably have somebody be willing to talk on the phone.
Absolutely.
If you have questions about the services that they offer. They've been our guests today on Litter Media Special Edition, brought to you today by Pickaway-Ross Adult Education. I'm Mike Smith.